Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're strapping in for a closer look at Zwift, the big name in virtual cycling. They recently, they hit users with a pretty hefty 33% price increase. And the big question everyone's asking based on the sources is this: is that new price, $19.99 a month, actually justified? Or is it just, gamified hype with inflated costs? Especially when you've got free options like my Whoosh out there. So that's our mission today: weigh the cost versus the value.
Right. And let's get the numbers straight first. It jumped from $14.99, which it had been for a while, up to $19.99 monthly. Or you can pay $199.99 for the year. And Zwift is, well, it's huge. We're talking over 1 million subscribers, riding in, 12 different virtual worlds, like France, Paris, even Scotland now. And over 120 routes. It's massive.
Okay, so for that $20 a month, what does it actually unlock? What's the premium experience? Because it's more than just a game, right? It's pitched as a serious training tool.
Exactly. You get these really immersive worlds. The physics feel quite realistic when you're climbing or drafting. Plus, there are structured workouts, training plans you can follow, categorized racing.
Ah, that's important. So like beginners aren't racing against pros.
Pretty much. It keeps things competitive for your level. And they have these AI pacers, robo-pacers they call them. They help you keep a steady effort. Even top pros use it, like Matthew Vanderpool. He mentioned it helps him seamlessly integrate quality sessions.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. But let's talk about the real cost, because the subscription, that's just the start, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where it gets, well, potentially very expensive. The $19.99 is only one piece. The big thing is the hardware barrier. You absolutely need a smart trainer for the full experience.
A smart trainer? Like, what are we talking cost-wise?
Well, the sources mention models like the Elite Dredo X. That's around $715 just for the trainer.
Wow, okay.
And that's crucial because it automatically changes the resistance. So when you see a hill on screen, it gets harder to pedal.
Right, that realistic physics thing.
Exactly. Then you need a device, tablet, computer, whatever. And ideally, you'd also have a power meter, maybe a heart rate monitor. So, before you pay a single subscription fee, you're easily looking at, well, north of $1,000 for the initial setup.
Oof. Okay. That definitely puts the $20 a month in perspective.
It does. Makes it sing a bit more for some people.
And this is where it gets, well, a bit controversial, right?
Yeah.
The timing of this price hike is the first one since 2017. They said inflation, platform costs, standard stuff. But didn't they also cut staff earlier that same year, despite having, huge funding?
Yes, exactly. They'd secured something like $614 million in funding. So, yeah, laying people off and then raising prices, it raised eyebrows. Analysts were already asking questions about their path to profitability. It creates this tension. Are you paying for inflation and better features, or are you kind of helping subsidize their business model because of that huge investment they took on?
And how does this new price stack up against competitors? Are they pricing themselves out of the market?
Well, they're certainly not the budget option anymore. They've matched Trainer Road, which is also $19.95. But Trainer Road is purely about structured training data, less about the virtual world experience.
Different focus.
Right. Then you've got Wahoo System, still at $14.99. And of course, the free ones like My Whoosh and IndieVel. There's even Be Cool in the UK, about £8.50, lets you upload your own routes. Zwift is clearly betting that its content library and, the sheer number of people using it, that network effect, justifies being top tier on price.
So what's the verdict from users then? Sounds like people are pretty split.
Very split. You see sources like road.cc really praising it, saying it transformed indoor training. No more staring at a garage wall. It genuinely makes indoor riding less miserable for a lot of cyclists.
Yeah, I can see that. Motivation is huge.
Definitely. But then you get colder analysis, like from Garage Gym Reviews. They rated the pricing like 3 out of 5. Their point was simple. Most other top fitness apps cost about half as much.
Fair point.
So it begs the question, who is this really worth it for now?
And what's the conclusion there? Who benefits most?
The sources seem to agree it's worth it for basically 2 types of riders. One, the really dedicated cyclist, someone riding indoors multiple times a week, year-round. And crucially, someone who already owns all that expensive smart gear we talked about.
Right. The investment is already made.
Exactly. For them, it's an essential tool. But for the more casual rider, maybe someone who only uses it seasonally or only cares about a couple of features, that high hardware cost plus the new $20 fee, it just starts to feel like too much.
And people actually canceled?
Yeah, reports suggest quite a few casual users did cancel their subscriptions right after the price hike. The value just wasn't there for them anymore.
So for you listening, the takeaway seems pretty clear. It really boils down to how much you'll actually use it and whether you've already dropped that significant cash on the smart trainer and other bits.
Exactly. If you're all in, it might still be worth it. And maybe here's a final thought to chew on. When a platform gets hundreds of millions in funding, cuts staff, and then raises prices by a third, citing inflation, are you, the user, paying for genuinely better value? Or are you essentially helping to fund that company's long and sometimes tricky road to actually making a profit? Something to mull over next time you're climbing up virtual Alpe d'Huez Zwift.